This is already one of the best releases in 2025. Concise, really eclectic, filled with quality music, stunning performances from start to finish, and a really gripping style of rock music. I'm talking about Vanity's Latitude. So let's kick off this episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Welcome to SEIYUU Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today we are going to talk about Vanity's Latitude. This is an amazing EP released in 2025, so it was released in January, and it is already a strong candidate for Album of the Year. Of course, I'm saying this right now, but we still have a couple of months until the end of the year, and we don't know who is going to release an album next, and who is going to surpass the quality that Vanity has in this album. But I can already tell you, this is a top 3 album of the year, so it will be quite difficult to make them drop from the top 3. But still, I'm open for challengers, I'm always open for really good music, so I'm quite excited about that. This is an album that was, or let's say this is an EP that once again features a wide variety of rock subgenres, and it has plenty of funk going on in here. The bass lines are really prominent, and I feel that this is an EP that by summer you will also or will still be listening to, because the songs are really interesting and fun and danceable. We are talking about a style of rock music that is really, really fun to listen to. And Vanity makes it really stylish as well. So all good points for you to dive into Vanity's Latitude. But let me, from the past actually, tell you why Latitude is really good. Because in an episode of Monthly Review, I went into a little bit of detail about why this is one of the best releases so far in 2025 and why you should check it. And well, I'm going to leave you to that. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you in the outro. So the first corner is the best of, and what is, let's say, one of the best CDs released so far in 2025 is Vanity's Latitude. Once again, Vanity impresses. And one thing that I was enjoying a whole lot when I was listening to their music, and especially to these EP, was how mature their sound now is, at the same time that we need to actually pay attention that the band doesn't have a set music genre that they follow, but they still stick with rock music for the most part. And what they deliver here is a set of really stylish songs. Once again, the thing that they have about mixing fashion with music actually shows in the music that they create, because each song is almost like a different statement, a different fit, and it actually works pretty well with the band. They fit almost any kind of music subgenre, let's say, in rock music. They do a little bit of everything in this EP, and I found myself enjoying it a whole lot, especially whenever there was a couple of hints of jazz music coming into the spotlight. Once again, the bass lines are crazy good when it comes to Vanity. Quabara is insane. And at the same time, I enjoyed a whole lot the differences in the dynamics, or at least how they have improved so much the dynamics when it comes to the performances themselves. So I found myself enjoying a whole lot how Yuichiro Mihara actually can keep up with Yoshiki Nakajima and even surpass him in a couple of songs when it comes to the quality. Mind you, a couple of years ago, Yuichiro Mihara was not a good singer, but he has improved so much that right now he actually can go head to toe with one of the best and most complete singers among male SEIYUU, and he can actually sound better than he does, which is unbelievable. So Yuichiro Mihara has grown a whole lot as a performer, and he keeps on growing, and I believe that having Yoshiki Nakajima by his side is actually helping him improve even further, and I cannot even imagine how amazing he's going to sound in a couple of releases. So far we have an amazing set of songs in Latitude. I found myself enjoying this EP a whole lot, and out of everything that I reviewed in the first quarter of 2025, this is by far the CD that is well ahead of every single other when it comes to the race of album of the year for me. At least right now they are. So I'm quite excited to see what they can bring next, but seeing as they are quite unpredictable, they may not release more music this year, or they may release a single by the end of the year, we don't know. But regardless, I'm quite excited about what they have delivered and what they may deliver in the future, because they keep on reinventing their sound, they keep on making us guess what they are going to do next, and even when they do something that they did before, they always introduce different elements there. They always bring a little bit of a spark when it comes to vocals, and then the bass lines are crazy. Then you have the twin guitars, each one going or playing completely different things that actually coalesce in the same stage and sound like a really awesome harmony when they are actually playing completely different things that actually, when you take a closer look, they are complementing each other. But if you are trying to pay attention to one side of your ear and the other side, you will understand that you have completely different melodies being played. Sometimes you have Yoshiki Nakajima playing a solo, while you have Yuichi Umehara playing the lead guitar. But other times you have the inverse, and sometimes both are playing the solo, or sometimes both are playing the rhythm guitar. It's really awesome to see what they bring to the table, and I love their dynamic, both with the twin guitars and also with the twin vocals. They really live up to what they promised, and they deliver more and more when it comes to the quality. So Latitude was quite possibly one of the biggest releases of January, and Gomen Asobase is one of the funkiest songs I've heard from them. And they have quite the interesting set of funky songs, not only in this CD, but also in previous releases. So I really enjoyed this EP, and I fully recommend you to check it. But of course, since I'm pretty late to the party, you may already have checked it, and you may already be saying, well, Vanessa, I actually know that since January. So if that's the case, good for you. I arrived quite late, but still, I enjoyed it a whole lot. So those were my impressions about Sir Vanity's Latitude. Honestly, it is a really complete release. Once again, they keep on making music that is interesting. They are not doing what everyone is doing. They are avoiding themselves sounding like an anime rock band. I like a whole lot the bass lines that they have. Once again, Kuwabara is insane. Whenever he picks up the bass, he does amazing stuff. Really insanely fast stuff as well. But you know that you are going to have a good time because he's going to add so much groove to the music that you will be jamming along to it, regardless if you are understanding the lyrics or not. Also, the twin guitars do an amazing job. The drums are really addictive. Let's summarize this as Sir Vanity has a really good or interesting brand of rock music that I love a whole lot and that I basically would recommend anyone to check. Really. That's the summary of this episode by far. I feel that I talked plenty about this CD, so I'm not going to repeat myself anymore. Strong candidate for Album of the Year, yes. One of the best albums by Sir Vanity, by far, yes. And I like that it was more concise. There are fewer songs in the album or the EP, but it sounds as good as the previous one. And I would say a tad better at times. So that's my take there. I can't wait for more music from them, honestly. Every time that Sir Vanity appears, and they appear at random, every time they appear, they deliver an amazing EP for us to enjoy. But enough about what I think. I would love to know, what did you think about this album or this EP in specific? Do you have a favorite song in here? Honestly, I love every single one of their songs in this EP. I was struggling a lot with coming up with a all-time favorite. I would say Gomen Asobase is a really awesome song, but Home is also an amazing song as well. So I would say I like almost all songs in this EP. I would say the opening is not as strong as others, but I would say still enjoyable, and as a whole it is a really strong EP. So I would love to know which is your favorite song in this EP. If you are enjoying the music by Sir Vanity, what are you looking forward for them to try, for example? Since they are doing a little bit of every music genre, which would be the music genre or the thing that you would love for them to try? So yeah, let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of SEIYUU Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly male SEIYUU and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. And if you are listening to this episode on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find this podcast and fall in love with male SEIYUU artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.